Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk. Today we're talking about influence, and I'm going to share with you the 10 reasons why you may not have anybody following you right now. Now before we get started, I want you to understand that success doesn't always look the same. Whether you're a church leader, whether you own a business, whether you're a parent, or you just got a group of people that are looking to you for leadership, it doesn't always look the same. Just because you have thousands of followers on Instagram doesn't mean that you actually have people following you in real life. And just because you've got a group of people following you in real life doesn't necessarily mean you need to be focused on growing your Instagram platform. However, this is true for everybody. If you're a leader, you should have people following you. And so I want to talk about the 10 pitfalls that really contribute to people not building a platform of influence. Influence is the greatest tool that we use for leadership. And the reason why you may not have any people following you right now are probably found in one or more of these 10 qualities. And so let's get started. Here's the first reason why you may not have any followers right now, and that's because you haven't built something yet. You know, in our generation of get rich quick and get famous overnight on TikTok, I think it's easy for us to believe that influence and following is built from looking good, saying the right things, having the right social media strategies. But here's the reality. People want to follow somebody who've actually built something. I don't want to take cues from people that haven't developed something. They've never developed a team or built a business or released a product that has been successful. The truth is, you got to build something. So the reason why people may not be following you right now is because you've actually never developed anything worth following. Something to think about. Number two, you haven't hit critical mass. I call this traction. A lot of people say, well, if I just keep working hard, if I just put the time in, then I'll be successful. But here's the truth. You may have time, and you may have put in some trust with your people, but at the end of the day, if you don't have traction, you're not going to hit critical mass. And people follow others who've hit that point of success where time, testing, and trust all come together into what I call traction. You know, there's a point in every business, there's a point in every organization where growth just starts multiplying. You know, in the beginning, it's real hard. You have to use strategies and tactics, but after a while, there's a moment where you hit critical mass. Every business, every leader, every influencer can point back to that one moment where everything changed. It's not luck. However, there is something specific about traction, and maybe you just haven't hit that point yet. Number three, you haven't developed substance. Now, we talked about in point one, developing something that people can look to that's successful. That's external success. The question is, do you have internal substance? You know, internal substance is developed through experience, wisdom. It's personal investment. You know, this is why I went back to school, so that I constantly stay learning. Here's why that's important. People are looking to me constantly for leadership. If I become the lid in the organization and I stop growing, well, I'm not going to be able to handle growing others who outgrow me. And maybe the reason why you don't have a following right now is because you've gotten stale, because your message is consistent, but it's not developing. You're not offering any new wisdom because you haven't personally invested in you. Maybe you need to start listening to podcasts. Maybe you need to start reading books. Maybe you need to go back to school and expand your wisdom and knowledge so that you can offer something of substance to others. Spiritually invest in yourself. Invest in your soul, in your own personal growth so that you can offer something of substance. Number four, you don't have any scars. You know, I had a leader tell me early on when I was in college, he said, I don't trust any leader who doesn't have any scars. Now, let me tell you the difference between a wounded leader and a leader that has scars. You see, a wounded leader hasn't healed yet, so they bleed all over everybody. I'm not looking for somebody like that. I'm looking for a leader who has scars. What that means is this: you've gone through some stuff. Not only have you gone through the battle, you've been hurt, but you've healed up. There's something about a leader who's walked through the challenges of an organization that's split. Or maybe they've been at the bottom of the barrel financially and they had to struggle, but they've rebounded. Maybe they've walked through betrayal. whatever the case may be, when you've got scars, you got experience and you got wisdom. And maybe you don't have anybody following you right now because you just don't have the battle scars to let people know that they can trust you not to quit on them. So you got to have scars as a leader. Number 5, you haven't built a team. You know, personal success is important. You got to get good at your craft. You got to develop you. But if you haven't invested into other people, at the end of the day, you're going to be doing everything. We all know you can't be successful if you're the only one that's building towards the purpose. You got to build a team. And so how are you with leading others? How are you investing in people that may not have an immediate payoff, but in the long run, they're going to be a team that's loyal to you and invest in the mission and the purpose? If you're just trying to build something on your own, chances are you're not going to get that traction. But the more people you get close to you, an inner circle, a team that can support you and you can support them, that's the synergy needed to be successful. You're going to get a following. Number 6, the reason why you don't have any followers is you haven't celebrated anybody else. You know, I think everybody wants people to be fans and followers of themselves, but they're not willing to go do it for other people. And so when they have wins, when they have victories, they wait for other people to celebrate them, but nobody's there. Here's why. You didn't put the equity into others to celebrate their victories before you ask them to celebrate yours. You see, successful people understand that the greatest resource is referrals. The greatest resource are people who can say, you should trust this leader. Go ahead, buy their book, go to their church, participate in their organization, go to their business, use their services. You see, the best resource is a referral. And referrals come from investing in other people. Celebrate somebody else today. Maybe everything has been about you, but you need to go partner with somebody else's purpose and see them succeed so that they would in turn celebrate you. Number 7, a reason why you don't have any followers is because you're not being authentic. You know, especially young leaders struggle and strive to find their voice, to find their language, and to find their lane. That's a normal part of developing as a leader. But you got to make sure in the midst of that process that you're staying authentic, because God cannot bless the person you pretend to be. You know, I was talking to a leader this week and I said, I asked you to do this job because I wanted you, not because I wanted the person you pretend to be or you think the person that other people want you to be. I want you. The truth is, people know when you're being fake. They know when you're putting on something that isn't you. So stay in your lane. Discover your voice and be authentic. That's the person people want to follow. Number 8, the reason why you don't have any followers is because you're not relevant. Now, there's an outdated version of what you do and an upgraded version of what you do. The question is, what lane are you in? You see, especially in church ministry, we're a part of an ancient tradition, a culture that goes back thousands and thousands of years. And so it's really easy to try to take new wine and put it into an old wineskin. It's really easy to be used to an old form of business and try to use that in a new culture. The truth is, you got to be relevant. You got to figure out how to take the business model, the strategy, and the message that's been said time and time again and fit it in to a relevant method of reaching people. You got to be relevant. You got to figure out how to use a current strategy to connect with people. Number 9, the reason why you don't have any followers is because you have the wrong mindset. Maybe you think like an employee. I'm going to put time in, and then if I can put all that time in with excellence and hard work, I'll be successful. But an owner thinks differently than an employee. An owner thinks, how can I limit the amount of time that I use as output, but I maximize the income or maximize the impact of my success? Here's what I want you to be challenged with today is don't think like an employee. Don't think that if I just work harder, I'll make more. I'll create more influence. I'll build more impact. That may be true in the early seasons of your life and in the early seasons of your leadership, but eventually you're going to have to start thinking like an owner. How can I multiply myself by keeping the same amount of time? Because if I'm only trading time for money, Well, guess what I'm going to have to do to make money? I'm going to have to use my time. And that doesn't just equate to money, it also equates to influence, success. If I can multiply myself and other people, then it's not contingent upon me to be successful. Lastly, number 10, a reason why you don't have any followers is because you're doing this for selfish gain. People know the motives that you have. And I've said this before, but you want to be a helper, not an opportunist. Don't exploit people for your own personal gain. Offer something that actually helps them. And I think the thing that gets under people's skin more than anything right now in our saturated social media culture that we're in is when we see somebody exploiting a message or exploiting views, exploiting comments, exploiting the things that they're using so that they can build a platform for themselves. See, God's not going to bless your strategy if you're doing this for selfish gain. And so I want to encourage you to check your heart and to evaluate your motives. Maybe the reason why you don't have any followers right now is because you're doing this all for you. But if you invested in other people, if you really did something that's going to help them, then maybe you'd start to realize that people want to be a part of what you're doing because they feel like it benefits them. That's the best way to be a leader. It's the best way to develop influence. Not to use people, but to actually help them. That means that there's a mutually beneficial relationship that we have. Even with my staff that work for me, I am also here to invest in them, in their dreams and in their purpose so that they can do the things that God has called them to do as well. I hope this helped you. The 10 reasons why you don't have any followers right now. And I want to encourage you to continue to grow in your leadership. I'm putting out content every month. I'm going to release a new video here on the Let's Talk podcast. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're watching out at the beginning of every month for a video just like this. And if you like this video and it helped you, go ahead and share it. Post it to your social media. Let somebody know that they can grow today as long as they keep the conversation going. Thanks so much for joining. I'll see you next time.